So that room can fit everything here. It works. I've been waiting for this call for a year and a half. If you remember, I did a job for the Wall Street Journal where I was following this cruise ship captain, and he was parking at the port, and they did an amazing job on the video. I think he got 1 million views. And then they called me back months and months later after I had been trying to get another job, and I wasn't available. And I was really bummed because I thought that was going to be the last time I worked for them. And then they called again this time, except I was in vacation in Puerto Rico, surfing, having a good old time. And I knew if I had let this opportunity go by again, they probably wouldn't call a third time. So I had to cut my trip early and get back to Orlando to do my second job for the Wall Street Journal. I am almost dialed in with the whole setup. I just need to get audio. To me, it's a little boring. So right now we're going to look for plants or anything we can to populate this background. And very simple, 300C with a softbox, 60X with a color temperature that is matching this house lighting. Thank goodness we had control and we could turn off these recessed cans because it was a really, really heavy light going down and creating a shadow.
Like something that you choose to do based on like personal preference.
You know, we've got a great working relationship with Health in it. I don't think it's...
There are two things happening in this vlog. One is this is exactly the high-level, polished interview type of corporate shooting that I am aspiring to tackle and target and be known for. Like, the deliverables on this day is 2 interviews, 2 clips. That is all I am delivering. And it is placing a lot of importance on the visual component of the interview and the audio component. And that's it. There's nothing else beyond that. And I really like that. I like having that calling card of saying, this is what that guy does really well. He's a specialist at it. Of course, I can do other things, but this is right up my alley. And the second thing is you will notice a few items in here are different than what I've used in the past. I'm trying to slim down gear. I'm trying to use new things. So you see the lapel here. I think I put it too low because his hands are at risk of scratching it.
Thank you, guys. Listen, I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great...
Man, my life would be so much easier if modern cameras could see the exposure that an iPhone can see. It is insane how different it is. You can see it's completely clipping when I put up false color. And I'm just trying to massage and trying to find what's the right balance of curtains to ND. And then the cloud comes in and it switches everything off. And you can see I'm going to need a lot of key to brighten up the subject. And I am using my 300C, which is pretty much the bare minimum for this type of situation. We are breaking for lunch, so this is the only light that I really do need to turn off because it's battery powered, and I have it at very high intensity with 1 hour and 20 left. I could use this USB-C to charge, but I'm just going to turn it off and then reconnect it to Sidus, which takes about 5 seconds when we get back in here. And then these shadows are all going to move. The sun's going like that because this is like a southwestern facing room. There's a lot of new stands and gear that I'm going to show what I got and why I bought them.
It's a very asset-light model for them.
When I have a remote producer, this is the view that I prefer to see, because when I am in view of the interviewee, they see my eyes and it's just natural reaction to look at someone's eyes who's looking at you. So if I can cover myself with the laptop and then I can just monitor audio, and if my hand needs to reach up to the camera, it can. But this is a much better setup than what I've had in the past when they are just trying to ignore you. It allows them to focus on the subject a lot easier. But like I said, that's only when there's a remote producer on board. So that is a bona fide cranky camera stand. The Lowell stand, I think it's a Uni, Omni, I forget which one. Like I said, I'm going to go over all this gear in an upcoming video.
How you doing?
You know, sometimes you think you have a good idea. So this cable was swinging around and I was like, oh, I know a perfect way how to hold it. I'm going to put a sock on it. And as soon as I got to set, I was like, what am I doing? So I need to buy the case for that.
So I only have 2 clips. This one was an audio test. It was 80 gigs. Each of them were an hour long. Came out great. Let's see here.
To look at what they really want out of their vacations.
So we
It's
got
unique to them. Some might want more flexibility.
the Lav on channel 1, and like I said, they don't care. That bugs me, but they don't care. And then the shotgun mic on channel 2. So super happy with that. This is the other one. Sun was moving in and out like crazy here. I mean, that's just what Florida is. But pretty happy with that. I ended up, like I said, moving that mic up. And been catching up on a bunch of YouTube. So this is from John Waldman. He was talking about he's doing a 2024 video and review.
I've seen a lot of these kind of year in review videos. Ones I liked, one from David Warfield, another one from Cranky Cameraman.
I think these types of videos are so important because when I used to go on YouTube, I was just watching product reviews, how cameras work, but I didn't know how often do you work, how much money do you make, how much profit do you make, how do you structure your businesses, and more people are putting these out. So I'm very excited to watch John's, but there is another one from Tommy Beal. He just did a year in review, very eye-opening. If you see the ways that he actually made advancements and made more money, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but let's call it extracurricular activities. This is the type of info that I like. I don't care how well it's shot. I just care about the quality of the information being given. But more and more people are posting these in YouTube, and it's really helping everybody see how do I get the ball rolling. Very, very valuable.
I was able to get one consultation call in between jobs, and this one we were discussing how a lot of retainers are moving us from just being videographers to becoming social media managers and what all that implies and requires from you.
Nothing like walking into a set that's already been put together for you. The only kit list I have today is headphones, and then I brought the Hollyland Lark 2S's just in case. We'll see if we even need them. I gotta take out some wrinkles. Oh, they got a steamer. So 2 lights for the green screen. Let's see how practical this is. Okay, it's not horrible. There's definitely some non-illuminated areas here. Maybe I'll lower these down, have them more in the middle. And then I told them it'd be much better if we had a boom for the subjects since they're gonna be cycling through instead of laving each one. So I'm glad they brought that. Here's the key. Very flat, very corporate. Maybe I'll experiment with doing different intensity levels. How you doing? If this was my operation, they have the lights and the camera rated at 5600 Kelvin. Great, nothing wrong with that. But in these types of conference spaces, it's usually not 5600. It's usually much warmer. So they already did a test clip and the key worked fine. So really, I'm not gonna mess with anything. But if I had done this, I would have just matched the house lighting temperature, and that way you're not fighting the house lights, you're adding to it. Since there's no topper overhead to cut anything, that would be ideal, just to get rid of the over eye, raccoon eye shadows. But like I said, they already did a test clip and it keyed out great, so I'm not gonna mess with anything. Okay, not bad, mid shot. You can see there's a little bit of rim light on me. Yeah, a little bit of rim light, and that was because I asked for an additional stand. They had additional lights, but we needed an additional stand. So just using the 200X with a reflector dish, really low power. And 2% on the 200X is like very comparable to the output on some of these. So I wish I could switch it and then have the 200X as the key, but I don't have a softbox for it. So utilizing the reflector dish for the hair light.
If I can find it, I'll link to it, but this is a recreation of a shoot I did last year in San Antonio, Texas. So it's the same thing, a bunch of people cycling in and out throughout the day, and I told them, hey, we can improve on this. Instead of laving everybody up, we can just have a mic boomed overhead, and that way, as soon as someone is finished, they walk out, and then the next person can easily walk in, and we can just avoid all of that mess of miking them.
Such a large pocket of
It's been a while since I used an FS5 Mark II, and honestly, it's great for corporate work. One, they're super cheap, so you can get a bunch of them for multicams. And two, they do 4K in 8-bit, and then they do 1080p in 10-bit. And I like using the OEM batteries here because I can actually monitor the capacity remaining, something that I can't do on my V-mount batteries through the camera. I can check them on the battery, but here I can actually see 47%. I don't have to look away at the batteries. I can see exactly how much is remaining.
So it was really, she drew me to it. I hadn't had any exposure to it.
And I'm digging it. I really like how streamlined the system is. There's something about taking away all the accessories and being limited in the sense that I can only do these few options, and therefore I don't have to worry about all the bells and whistles. It's got me thinking about switching up my setup, because while I do really enjoy the V-mount setup on my FX6, it just increases more links in the chain, and that adds more points for vulnerability. Plus, for the stuff that I do, I don't necessarily need a complete V-mount setup.
Seeing it for the first time as a student.
You just got to do whatever it takes. So when I use the camera in this setup, it just makes me want to ditch my V-mount setup because this is so light. It's so nice, especially with an 18-105. It's f4, so not the fastest, and it's got this thing here, which it should be up there. Actually, let me change that. I mean, I really like having a camera package this small. That's part of the reason why I like the FX or FS line, is because everything's pretty cohesive, especially when it starts to... All right, see, this cable's way too short. I can't even get this out in front without it maxing out. But I want my FX6, I think, to just be this, because this would be so much more helpful. And if you've never used an FX6, you don't realize that half of the body is a cavity for this battery. Like, there's not much in here up to this point. Like, this is mostly just the camera. And then once you get in here, the only camera is this little side panel and this little side panel, which is just I/O, and then a board for buttons. If they filled all this up with goodness and put a flat back on, and then we put a V-mount here, One, it would have way more stuff in it. The heat dissipation would be great, not that there's any issue right now. And we could use V-mounts. Oh, the client canceled today, so that means we get to come out and enjoy some Florida.